Welcome to the last session of the Module 3 of the Road Safety e-learning course. My name is Ludo Kluppels. I'm working for the VS Institute in Brussels, Belgium, and I will lead you through this session. Before you started this module, you have already learned a lot about basic concepts of road safety, about data collection, and already the first three sessions on management, namely what's a lead agency, how to build a strategy, and how to plan actions. The last session of this module is about funding, a very important thing to realize. In this session, we will briefly discuss different issues about the cost of the road safety organizations and interventions. Besides a few general remarks on funding, we will propose different kinds of funding possibilities that a government or an agency can organize. The last part of the session will discuss the notions of cost effectiveness or willingness to pay, two aspects that play more and more a role in governance and that have a direct link with social support and compliance. Each government must develop a policy for funding, not only for the installation of continuous working on the lead agency, but also for the realization of actions and initiatives to improve road safety. Most African countries have foreseen a funding for the lead agency, but not enough resources for the execution of action plans. The presented table gives an overview per region of how many countries have a funding for the agency and a funding for the implementation of their road safety plan. Small and Runji propose that each country should allocate 10% of road investment for funding and 5% of the road maintenance funds to road safety. This is quite a lot of money, and probably it will not be enough if more and more initiatives will be organized. A lot of governments, but also the public, will put the effectivity of these expenses in question. Is it really worthwhile? All road safety activities serve the ultimate aim, namely to decrease the number of fatalities and seriously injured people. Unfortunately, it is not always evident for people that this is or could be realized. Most activities does not lead directly to results. Data collection does not eliminate road crashes. On the contrary, improving the data collection could discover more road crashes. Also, infrastructural changes or the implementation of new laws or regulations have not always a direct and visible effect. It takes some time to let road users adapt to the new situation. Benefits are statistically visible and measurable after a certain time. Most changes in traffic are only visible counting big numbers. No one will notice that in his street or in his village accidents will decrease because it's probably only one or two fewer accidents. But if you count the number over a whole region or country, then it would be enormous. Statistical evidence is not always comprehensible for people. The benefits are visible on a large scale and on the long run. Therefore, funding road safety actions and agency is more an investment than a cost. And at the end, society will experience the benefits. Therefore, it's always important to show the results or possible outcomes of interventions. That's another reason why collection of data is so important. Communicate these aspects in a clear and simple way. Therefore, not only the mass media are important, but also more simple ideas can be beneficiary, like an announce by the entry of a city or a company about the number of the accidents or the number of violations. Make numbers more visible by illustrating them with real people. A real challenge for communication officers. Investment in road safety could also have benefits in other domains. Better roads can also improve trade and economical activities. Better vehicles and more and better structured public transport can have an influence on environmental issues like air pollution and traffic jams. Making city centers safer for vulnerable road users could encourage walking and cycling, which have an influence on health. If this could be taken into account, the cost would probably refunding itself on the long run, or is this too optimistic? In general, there are 4 different kinds of resources for providing money for road safety issues. The government has a duty to preserve a certain part of its budget to organize road safety. As already mentioned, the World Health Organization has proposed a certain percentage of the budget that is foreseen for road building and maintenance. Considering the many priority needs of developing countries, funding for road safety tends to be considered as a secondary goal. But governments must realize that positive effects have also an impact in other domains on the long run, and then it will be beneficiary. Besides the basic funding, contributions from road users can also be directly preserved for road users' activity. Especially motorized road users spend a lot of money for using their vehicles. There is a registration fee, fuel use, insurance cost, etc. The registration fee is a kind of tax directly paid to the government. On the other expenses, tax is also paid as part of the price of these services. The government can decide to at least spend a part of these specific income taxes for road safety. This mechanism is a kind of guarantee that the more people make use of the road network with a motorized vehicle, the more money is available to guarantee their safety. The idea behind is that the consumer pays for the service he gets. A step further is that traffic fines will also be for a part preserved for funding road safety action. The idea behind is the assumption that the offender has demolished the safety on the road and that he has to restore it in one way or another. So a part of his penalty is to pay for this. This could only be fair if enforcement is well organized and without any corruption. In Work Package 4 on the SaferAfrica project, only 9 of 21 African countries use this possibility to finance road safety actions. Both ways of structural financing are for a government just another way to distribute the incomes. But if well communicated, it could be for the people a more acceptable way to comply with tax regulations. On the other hand, it is for the government a robbing Peter to pay Paul action. It doesn't provide more income for the treasury. What do you know about the funding in your country? Is there a budget for road safety? Are parts of the incomes of taxes and fines directly put aside for road safety? Can you describe that mechanism? Do you have any idea of the amount of these funds? And what could, in your opinion, be improved? Take some time to think, and if you got your any answer, please restart the video. A third possibility of funding specific aspects of road safety is looking out for funding by international organizations. A lot of international organizations like the World Health Organization, the World Bank, the African Bank, the European Commission, and many others have the possibility to finance parts of specific projects in different countries. Some of them are proposing specific projects on which a country or an organization can apply to be accepted. Sometimes countries or regions can propose themselves a specific plan or project and ask to these organizations if they have any interest to promote and support it. A lot of these organizations providing also capacity building tools, webinars, e-learning courses, manuals online, and of course a lot of possibilities to share knowledge, experience, and good practices from different countries. So don't forget from time to time to look at their websites and to see what's happening with them. Besides sponsorships of international organizations, the fourth way to find funding for road safety is working together with private companies. In general, private companies are more accessible to sponsor concrete actions or initiatives. This doesn't mean that it's only about short interventions like campaigns, publicity spots, etc., but also the development of educational programs, like for example the action of Shell in South Africa, what is called Safe and Sound, or the truck driver training in Uganda, sponsored by Total. With the links you can visit their website and to see what is happening. A company wants to invest in road safety for several reasons, but what they always want is a kind of return, usually in the form of recognition, visibility, image building. That's why companies are not always to be found for a shared sponsorship. Most of them want a certain exclusivity. Going in partnership with private companies has a lot of opportunities, but there are also some reflections to be made. The message of road safety has to be congruent with the image of the private company and its mission on other initiatives. In most of the cases, there will be no problem because road safety is an important issue for everyone. But nevertheless, verify the commercials and the private company to be sure that they are not in conflict with the message you want to spread with the help of this company. During the negotiation with different companies, you must be transparent and honest. Don't try to organize a competition between sponsors because that would work for the first action, but certainly not on the long run. Companies work on basis of trust and clear and open contracts. So with this, I gave you some ideas of how to get funding for initiatives and actions in road safety. To summarize a little bit, funding on road safety is in the first place an investment on the long run. And it's important to prove the necessity of these actions and these plans. What could be expected? There are 4 different ways to fund plans and action to look for funding. You can take some budget of the treasury. You can make a structural funding by indirect contributions of road users, for example, from fines. You can funding and projects from international organizations. You can funding by private companies. Well, I thank you very much for your attention, and this was the last session in Model 4 on management. I wish you a lot of success with your further study in road safety. Thank you very much.